Story of Joseph, son of Jacob, Genesis 37:50. A complete narrative. A beloved son with big dreams. Joseph was the 11th son of Jacob, born to Rachel, the wife Jacob loved deeply. From the beginning, Joseph stood out. Jacob gave him a beautiful multicolored robe, a sign of honor and affection. Joseph also had extraordinary dreams. In one dream, bundles of grain bowed to his bundle. In another, the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowed to him. His brothers did not like these dreams. They felt Joseph was favored, proud, and destined to rule over them. Their jealousy grew into anger. Pat betrayed and sold. One day, Jacob sent Joseph to check on his brothers in the fields. When they saw him coming, wearing his bright robe, their jealousy boiled over. They seized him, tore off his robe, and threw him into a dry pit. When a caravan of traders passed by, they sold Joseph for 20 pieces of silver. The brothers dipped his robe in goat's blood and brought it to Jacob. Jacob believed Joseph had been killed by a wild animal. He mourned deeply and refused to be comforted. Jasper. Egypt. Joseph was taken to Egypt, a great African kingdom along the Nile. He was sold to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh. Even in slavery, Joseph worked with integrity. God gave him favor, and Potiphar put him in charge of his entire household. But Potiphar's wife falsely accused him, and Joseph was thrown into prison. Dreams in the darkness. Even in prison, Joseph remained faithful. The prison warden trusted him and placed him over the other prisoners. 2 of Pharaoh's servants, the cupbearer and the baker, had troubling dreams. Joseph interpreted them accurately. The cupbearer would be restored. The baker would be executed. Joseph asked the cupbearer to remember him, but the man forgot. 2 long years passed. Joseph, before Pharaoh himself had to disturbing dreams: 7 fat cows eaten by 7 thin cows, and 7 healthy heads of grain swallowed by 7 thin ones. No one could explain them. Then the cupbearer remembered Joseph. Joseph was brought from the prison, shaved, washed, and presented before Pharaoh. Joseph explained the dreams. 7 years of abundance would be followed by 7 years of severe famine. He advised Pharaoh to store grain during the good years. Pharaoh recognized Joseph's wisdom and appointed him second in command over all Egypt, a Hebrew slave elevated to the highest office under Pharaoh. Famine and the reunion. The famine spread across the region, reaching Canaan, where Jacob and Joseph as brothers lived. Jacob sent his sons to Egypt to buy grain, all except Benjamin, the youngest. When the brothers arrived, they bowed before Joseph, fulfilling his childhood dream, but they did not recognize him. Joseph tested them to see if they had changed. He demanded they bring Benjamin. He watched how they treated one another. He saw their remorse. Finally, Joseph could no longer hold back his tears. He revealed himself. "I am Joseph, your brother." The brothers were shocked and afraid, but Joseph comforted them. "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." Jacob moves to Egypt. Joseph invited his entire family to live in Egypt, where food was plentiful. Jacob, now an old man, traveled with all his children and grandchildren, 70 people in all, to the land of Goshen. When Joseph saw his father again, he wept on his neck for a long time. Jacob lived his final years in peace, surrounded by his family. Blessings and farewell. Before his death, Jacob blessed Joseph's sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, giving the younger the greater blessing. After Jacob died, Joseph honored him with a grand funeral procession back to Canaan, where he was buried with Abraham and Isaac. Joseph continued to care for his brothers and their families. Before his own death, Joseph made the Israelites promise: "God will surely visit you, and you shall carry my bones up from this place." His words pointed forward to the Exodus, the next great chapter of Israel's story. Why Joseph's story matters. Joseph's life shows how God can turn betrayal into blessing, how suffering can prepare someone for leadership, how forgiveness can heal a family, how Africa, Egypt, became the cradle of Israel's growth into a nation. It is a story of resilience, wisdom, and divine purpose.